What's up guys, James here, and welcome back to another Carnivores video on the channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about the Poacher and other cut content from the third installment in the Carnivores franchise, Carnivores Ice Age. Let me start off by giving some context to this removed feature before diving into what it is and why it was never officially added into the game. Carnivores Ice Age, as I said, is the third installment in the Carnivores franchise. It was created by Ukrainian video game developer Action Forms and released to PCs on January 15th, 2001. In the first two Carnivores games, players got to hunt alien dinosaurs in a variety of tropical environments, and this became the basis for most Carnivores games. However, when making a third game in the series, Action Forms wanted to spice things up, so they completely switched up the game's setting by making it take place on the Arctic sector of FMMUV-32 instead. Instead of dinosaurs, players got to hunt Ice Age mammals, terror birds, and other prehistoric animals on frigid islands and coastlines where dinosaurs wouldn't quite fit. The game expanded Carnivores' lore and its capability and uniqueness as a prehistoric hunting game franchise. To this day, Ice Age has remained a staple of Carnivores, the third game in the original trilogy. That being said, Carnivores Ice Age is not without its flaws. It is pretty much a more lackluster version of Carnivores 2. It's charming at first with its new maps and animals, but has much less features than the previous game, and once the charm wears off, there's really nothing to keep players returning. The maps are empty, the animals are less fun to hunt, and even the weapons are all exact replicas from Carnivores 2. It's fairly low quality and the game gets old quickly. I'd recommend checking out Saurian Target's nearly 20-minute long review of the game for better insight into what I'm talking about here. The general consensus among the community is that Action Forms wanted to get the game out by Christmas in 2000, missed the mark, and ended up rushing its release as quickly as they could. This is why it was put out on January 15th, 3 weeks after the holiday. Action Forms likely had already wanted the game to be released by that point, were probably freaking out that it wasn't, and so they just got it out as soon as possible. At the same time, Action Forms was in a rush to merge into video game holding company Infogrames, so some have speculated that they were also probably forced to quickly put the game out so that the company could disband sooner. All in all, this resulted in a rushed, unfinished game that likely isn't what the developers originally had in mind. Additions like the Yeti and Trophy Ship show off some of its potential, but even with these features, the cracks are evident. This brings us to the Poacher. A poacher is someone who illegally hunts wildlife, whether that be for money, food, or some other reason. Within the directory of Carnivores Ice Age's files is the model of a poacher, a similar but buffer version of the hunter with a double-barreled shotgun. However, despite being present in the files, there's no trace of the poacher in-game, and to this day, it's remained one of Carnivores' most notable scrapped features, on par with the mobile Hordes Dilophosaurus or the grenade launcher of the first game. As well as the PC version, the poacher's model can also be found within the files of the mobile port. This was likely accidental from when the devs first carried the game over to mobile devices. For years, players wondered what the intended purpose of the Poacher was. Well, in 2010, Tatum Games programmer Dmitry Neche shed some light on it. According to him, the Poacher was planned to be an aggressive ambient animal that randomly appears on the map and hunts you when you get a high enough score or your trophy room starts to fill up. But he says, for some reason, it was never added into the game. Personally, the Poacher would be a great addition to Carnivores Ice Age. Like I said, the developers seem to have wanted more out of the game, but just didn't have the time for it. It's also possible that the Poacher may have been pretty difficult to actually code into the game, considering its unique mechanics, so the devs just decided against it. But the Poacher would have presented a unique challenge not present in any other Carnivores game. It would have also been the first NPC in the series, and the first dangerous ambient, let alone having the only ranged attack in the game. Another interesting and strange piece of the puzzle is that Carnivores 1 and 2 hunter textures have a black space on them that would later be filled in for the texture of the Poacher's shotgun. Does this mean it's possible that Carnivores devs were working on a Poacher as far back as the first game? I don't think it's unlikely, considering we have direct evidence of other scrapped content from the first game as well. However, if this were true, you think they would have had enough time to complete the feature by the third game? It's interesting to imagine going against another hunter on a Carnivores map. Thematically, Poachers would have fit in with Ice Age, bringing out some of its safari-like aspects. Lore-wise, I also think it would have benefited the game. We're hunting on a ravenous alien planet, and it's not hard to imagine that certain spacefaring criminals have operated under the nose of Dino Hunt Corp. Maybe the Poacher could even steal your kills, or you'd see signs of him around the map, with dead animals that clearly weren't taken out by you. I was hoping Tatum Games would have completed the feature when porting Ice Age over, but unfortunately it's still left to sit unused in the game's files, even on mobile devices. And considering the current state of Carnivores Ice Age and the franchise as a whole, it's unlikely that any unused Carnivores features will ever see the light of day again in any official sense. Some players have gone into the files and swapped out the models of the pig with the Poacher, since its animation orders perfectly match the AI of the pig. But it doesn't shoot at you and actually runs away, so it's sort of just a novelty that some players have reintroduced. Not just exclusive to the pig, however, the Poacher can actually be modded to replace any animal in the series, giving players a chance to hunt them even in earlier Carnivores games. However, it does strike me as odd to hunt the Poachers as a trophy. Like, come on now, these are actual humans here. It's just that as it stands, the Poacher has never been contextualized in its original glory. And there we go, the Poacher, the third major piece of cut Carnivores content that I've covered on this channel. The first was the rocket launcher, a weapon which was planned to be included in the first game, but scrapped in very early development. The second was the Dilophosaurus, a near-complete dinosaur sitting unused in the files of the mobile port. And now I've finally covered the Poacher, a scrapped enemy from Carnivores Ice Age. Thank you to everyone for watching this video. I'm hoping to hit 6,000 subscribers soon, so if you're all the way at the end here and still aren't subscribed, it would be greatly appreciated. It's 2025 now. Man, last year really was something, especially for this channel. I hope everyone's having a good year. I have a lot of interesting and entertaining content planned for the coming months, so stay tuned for that. Have a good day, or good night even, and I'll see you on the next one.